Welcome to Briefly Creative, a podcast that explores insights, stories, and frameworks for living a meaningful creative life. I'm your host, Greg Gunn. Okay, let's try an experiment. Raise your hand if you have ever started something, maybe a new project or activity, only to realize at some point that you have no idea what you're doing. You can't see it, but my hand is waving high above my head, and I imagine yours is too. Every time I think about doing something new, I also think of 258 reasons why I shouldn't. It's too late to start. I'm too old for that. I wouldn't even know where to begin, and so on. But at the center of that excuse vortex lives the truth. I'm just afraid. Afraid that I can't do it because I don't know what I'm doing. And if only I knew what to do and how to do it, then I could be happy and fulfill my life purpose. Now, imagine if you were just as capable as the person you admire the most. Imagine that you could do what they do. What would that be worth to you? Now, I haven't done a lot of things, but I've done some pretty great things in my time here, in my opinion. And the one consistent, undeniable truth that I've come to learn is this. Nobody knows what they are doing. And I don't say that to disparage anyone's accomplishments or their hard work. I say that because it's kind of the truth. None of us really know what we're doing, not all the time at least. Other than breathing, how many things have you done in your life where you felt like, yeah, I 100% know what I'm doing here without a doubt? If you ask me, very few. Especially when it comes to work, let alone creativity. But when I do think about it, some of the best things in my life are a result of me not really knowing what I'm doing. And here are a few of those things in no particular order. Riding a bike, kick flipping off of a curb, starting a band, dancing, that still is true today, building a website, starting 2 businesses, one of which still exists, directing actors, making a short film for Disney, writing a newsletter, getting a dog, marrying my best friend, publishing a YouTube video, designing a mural, teaching other people, starting a podcast. Okay, story time. In 2014, I was given the honor and privilege of creating an animated short with Disney. Yes, Disney. Kind of amazing. My then writing partner and I were so excited because this short would be our pitch for making an animated series with them, something still on my bucket list. So, no pressure. We started by pitching them a handful of short story ideas, 2 paragraphs at most, to get them interested. After all, we did have experience making animations for commercials. Now, the good news, they liked our idea and gave us the green light to move forward. Yay. The bad news, we had no clue what to do next. Although we had a good idea, there was a big problem that we didn't account for. Neither of us knew how to write, let alone the family-friendly, comedic, character-driven stories Disney was looking for. So we did what any sensible person would do. Download a film script template from Microsoft Word and just start writing anyway. Now, writing was slow and uncomfortable, and big surprise here, not very good. You know what? Let me rephrase that. It was bad. Our writing and our script was bad. And our new friends at Disney agreed. They were not delighted by the animatic we presented based off of it. We walked away from that first meeting like, okay, we've got some work to do, but we can do this. 2 script revisions and 2 very discouraging meetings later, we were creatively deflated. The story wasn't improving, Disney wasn't happy, and we'd hit a wall. As it turns out, writing is hard, probably because we weren't writers, which didn't help. Now, I don't recall exactly when this dawned on us, but we went home and realized something. We weren't trying to write a novel. We came here to make an animation, so why are we spending our time writing so much? We scrapped everything, the animatics, the scripts, Microsoft Word, and we started over. Except this time, we didn't try to do it how we thought we should do it. We did it our own way, which meant drawing lots of storyboards, choosing our favorites, and then recording dialogue on our phones to go with them. Like, I would literally sketch out a scene on a series of index cards, take a photo with my phone, and then record myself doing the voices. And that became our writing process. But it worked. As janky as our method might sound, a week later, we had a brand new animatic to share. And you know what? Disney loved it. They laughed at all the jokes and even applauded afterward. I remember one of the executives saying, "I don't know what happened between the last review and what you showed us today, but you guys nailed it." Years later, I would discover a book titled The Art of Oo. In that book, the Adventure Time team talked about how they wrote stories by drawing first and then coming up with the dialogue afterward, because that's what worked for them. Like I said, nobody knows what they're doing. It sounds odd and even a little scary when you think about it, but it's also kind of reassuring in a strange way. Just think, everyone, including your heroes that you admire the most, at some point didn't have the answer, didn't know what to do next. To quote one of my favorite people, "When all else fails, there's always delusion." Thank you, Mr. Conan O'Brien. So I will leave you with this. The next time you feel like you're in over your head, or that you're not ready, or maybe you're just not sure what to do next, remember that most of the time, nobody knows what they're doing. And don't worry about doing it right. Worry about doing it well. Thanks for joining me today. You can find more info, show notes, and a transcript of this episode at brieflycreative.fm. And if you enjoyed what you heard, consider rating and reviewing the show on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to it. It would mean the world to me and really help the show out. Also, we have a weekly newsletter. You can read more about the episode and find fun, relevant links to things like tutorials, tools, and other useful creative adjacent stuff that I find. Thanks again for listening, and remember, what worked for someone else may not work the same way for you, but there's always something to learn from it. See you next time.